Folks, welcome. Happy Friday. We're on the dot here, ready to start with our next level up learning. Thank you so much for joining. And the the team has worked so hard on this presentation. I think we'll all be able to learn a lot. And they're going to introduce themselves here. So I'm just going to let them take it because they've got it. They're going to nail it. And they've got some really great professional and personal communication stuff coming up. So take it away, Laura and team.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amy. And thank you guys. We got 74, 75. The number keeps going up. It's a win that you are here on a Friday afternoon with a pop-up town hall that we just had. But we're so excited that you're here today. We're hoping to be able to share a few little things that will help. But first, I wanted to share and introduce our team. So this is the Learning and Development team. It's a relatively new team within the people team of HR and people team. So I'm Laura Lockhart, Director of Learning and Development. I've been with Meteor going on about 3 years. And then Meteor has been in my orbit for a long, long time. And so I'm honored to finally be here. My background is in education, teacher, campus, and district administrator. So, Nelisa?
I'm Lisa Metters, and my title is Communication and Development Specialist. And I've been with Meteor for right around the 7.5 year mark. And I started in quoting and then went to sales enablement, sales operations, and then now to learning and development. And I'm excited to be on this team.
And I'm Kelsey Warner. I'm the Training and Development Specialist. I've been with Meteor since January, and I'm so happy to be here. I have a background in education. I was a classroom teacher for a while. And then more recently, I was in higher education where I did adult learning, training, and development.
So we have a relatively new department, and we wanted to give you a little snapshot of the things that we're working on right now. So we have them up here on the screen. The first one is we're the change management office for the Wicked Tuna project. So we're working alongside of Wicked Tuna. We will do corporate communication. So the home base headlines comes from us, and the Meteor Minute for our leadership that goes out once a week also comes from our office. People development is something that we're diving headfirst into, which includes leadership development, which has been going on for a little while now. Laura's been doing that for a while, and now it's part of the L&D team level up presentation. So we're here now doing level up, train the trainer, which is just getting ramped up and started right now. And then we are exploring a learning management system and trying to decide how to leverage that for the organization. And so we'll hopefully be sharing more with you about that in the near future. But today we're going to be talking about pro-social communication in the meteorite galaxy. And with that, I'll hand the microphone to Kelsey.
Yeah, so today we're going to get to connect with each other some. We're going to do a breakout room. We're also going to have the opportunity to do some fun like online quizzes and just a couple of interactive activities. So have your phone ready when the time comes. And just be ready to be pro-social because that's what this is all about. So our ultimate hope for today is that you'll come out of this level up either with validation of some of your current best practices with communication, or maybe get one little nugget that you can use in your personal communication or work communication.
All right. So we talk a lot about pro-social and Meteor. So what is pro-social communication? So as I'm talking about this, you may want to grab your phone and take a picture of this slide because we're going to discuss this in a little bit greater length here in a moment. But if you look at this visual, we did some research, pro-social communication. There are a lot of things in this little galaxy of pro-social communication, and I want you to think about one of these that really like you connect with when you think of Meteor, what you need as a meteorite to do your best work, and how you like to show up for others. So, and you're gonna choose one word, and we're gonna go into a breakout room here in just a moment and discuss that. But mission, communication, collaboration, discussion, all of these are pro-social communication definitions. Planning together, brainstorming, cooperation, skills, support, trust, all of these things. So take a picture of this slide and choose one of the words that really resonates with you as a Meteorite, maybe why you're here or what you need to do your best work as a Meteorite. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into a breakout room, and how that works is it'll be 3 to 4 people. It's going to be random. So just, welcome everyone. As you get into the breakout room, you're going to get a little note that says join this. You'll go, and we'll have about 4 or 5 minutes. So make sure everybody introduces themselves, and everybody's voices get into the group, and then share your word from the ProSocial slide of why that word is meaningful for you. And then when we have about a minute to go, when we come back, you'll get a little timer countdown, and that will just give you a clue that is you'll have 1 minute left to finish up your conversation. So, all right, so here we go. I'm gonna have all night. I mean, we were right on target. 90 people are back. So again, hope you guys had some really great conversations and some opportunities to connect and maybe meet a few people. So let's hop into more about our pro-social communication and what the benefits of pro-social communication is. So, we talked about this on the town hall a while ago, that human connection is so critical and important for Meteorites, and it's critical for organization, team, and personal success. So you can see these three pieces to the pie. So on a personal level, when we communicate well, we have better relationships. We increase our self-awareness, which is one of the most critical soft skills to master, so that we're showing up well for others, and we have emotional management. And then also, when we are able to communicate well, we build empathy, and we're able to build trust with others. In our teams, when teams communicate well, we're able to solve problems. We reduce friction between what might be happening and the work that we need to do if we're in good communication. And then teams, the research says teams that are able to communicate better are 4 times more engaged. So that's another reason. And then finally, with the organization, if organizations can communicate well and collaborate well, there's a 47% higher investment on return. 70% were more innovative, and there's a 50% reduction in employee turnover whenever we're able to communicate well. So let's talk about some that sounds all really great, right? But there are challenges. So Naylisa, talk to us about some of these things.
I don't think you need to be communicating long in life to realize that there are challenges in communication. And so we've done some research and have found an interesting case study on some of the challenges that we can face in communication in an office setting. So we have a video to share with you that kind of really unpacks that for us really quickly. I think the video's just over, a minute and 40 seconds about that. So Laura.
All right.
So, assessing the situation, are they breathing?
No, Rose, they are not breathing, and they have no arms or legs.
No, that's not part of it.
Where are they? You know what? If we come across somebody with no arms or legs, do we bother resuscitating them? I mean, what kind of quality of life do we have there?
I would want to live with no legs.
How about no arms? No arms or legs is basically how you exist right now, Kevin. You don't do anything.
All right, well, let's get back to it, because you're losing them. Okay, too fast. Everyone, we need to pump at a pace of 100 beats per minute.
Oh, okay. That's hard to keep track. How many is that per hour?
How's that gonna help you?
I will divide and then count to it.
Right.
Okay, well, a good trick is to pump to the tune of Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Do you know that song?
Yes, yes, I do. I love that song. First I was afraid, I was petrified.
No, it's Staying Alive,
Okay, yes,
Staying
yeah.
Alive.
You were in the parking lot earlier. That's how I know you.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive.
You can't tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Words it loud, women warm, been kicked around since I was born. Well, it's all right, it's okay. You can look the other way. Let it go, let it go.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Yeah, okay, you didn't maintain 100 beats per minute, and the ambulance didn't arrive because nobody called 911, so you lost them.
That did seem a lot like a Meteor Company meeting, though. I mean, we lost one along the way, but we had a really good time doing it.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's hard enough to keep a straight face watching that video. Watching all of you lose it while I'm watching the video is just makes it all that much harder. So it can be really frustrating when our communication isn't landing and we have experiences like what we just witnessed here. We have a quote here from George Bernard Shaw: "The greatest problem in communication is the illusion that it has been accomplished." And we see a little illustration here of two little creatures trying to communicate with the common thought, does he realize how difficult he sounds? And I think we've all experienced this kind of thing. So take a moment, share in the chat what some barriers are to communication that you have experienced, maybe at work, maybe in your personal life, maybe, you know, as you've matured to the place you are in life. What kind of barriers to communication have you experienced? Ooh, limited perspective. Misunderstandings, that's a good one. What else do we see here? Oh, good gracious, I can't keep up. Closed-mindedness,
Not taking a
tone.
pause.
Yeah. Some of these I just think about our digital communication, like, you know, text and email, there it is right there, makes it harder versus in-person communication. Tone, not hearing a tone.
Using emails as text chat. That's a good one. Yeah.
Mm. Cutting people off, Cindy. I'm guilty.
Being
Yeah.
busy, so we're impatient to hear others' perspectives.
Lack of follow-up. Different meanings for different terms. Ooh, that's a good one. Email threads that go on way too long. Okay, well, we are going to talk about some of these today. We're not going to be able to solve for all of them, but I'm glad that we're opening up this conversation. And so let's start to talk about communication best practices in the Meteorite Galaxy, and hopefully we'll address some of these things today. But again, start talking about them in your teams as you leave this call today.
So thank y'all for sharing all those things in the chat, because there's so much that we could talk about with communication. We had a really hard time even narrowing it down to do this level up. So thank you for sharing. Two really important virtual communication terms that we came across are synchronous and asynchronous communication. And you may have heard these terms before, or you may have not, but synchronous communication is when everyone's working together, live time, simultaneously. So we think about synchronized swimmers. The team's moving together, they're flowing together, everybody's playing a key role and part in collaboration. Examples of this might be Zoom meetings, brainstorming sessions, phone calls, text messaging, instant chat, anything like that. Synchronous work has its benefits, right? So you're working live time, you're getting the work done right then. Everybody's voice is heard. It allows for context while you're collaborating. So asynchronous communication is the opposite of that. This is when everyone's still working towards the same common goal, but they're working at different times. So you can even see in the graphic, they've got different clocks, right? So different times. Examples of this might be emailing, doing shared documents within like a project management system like Teams, watching recordings back if you weren't able to make a live meeting, or even housing resources in a shared folder or a learning management system. There are benefits to communicating asynchronously, as it can increase efficiency, it can boost innovation, it creates a culture of focused work where you're able to focus more on your tasks, and it really connects our dispersed remote teams while we're still accommodating to people's various work styles. Ultimately, a successful remote work team like Meteor requires a balance of the two. So let's talk about some ways to communicate asynchronously. So emails. At Meteor, emails are one of our asynchronous tools that we use a lot. We saw a lot of responses in the chat about emails. So let's look at some best practices and kind of what the research says about emailing.
So as we consider email, and we've included calendar success in with this as well, because we use Outlook here and both are kind of live in the same area. But as you're sending emails, try to keep your emails clear and concise. Try to avoid all caps and excessive punctuation when that's inappropriate, or to express your emotion. When you're out of your office, go ahead and set up your automatic reply so that people can know not to expect a response from you quickly. Try to keep your calendar up to date. I can hear the thumbs up like in the background right now because I know that this is a thing. Try to keep your calendars up to date and use scheduling assistant when scheduling scheduling meetings and calls. Use an appropriate use of reply all and the carbon copy feature. Just try not to reply to everyone if you don't need to. As much as we can keep our inboxes under control, the better. So maybe not everyone needs to hear every reply. Use a clear subject line and update your subject line. So if the subject of your email changes, go ahead and update that subject line. So when you go back and look for information, if you need to, then that subject line matches whatever the content of that email does. If you need to, include your call to action and due dates within your email for clear communication. Prompt your reader to view any links and attachments that you're including in your email. Maybe they're on the road and not literally driving, checking their email, but maybe they're busy in meetings and things like that, and maybe checking their email on their phone and didn't catch that you included an attachment. That prompt will help direct them back to that. Use the to for desired respondents. So if I'm sending an email to my team and I want Kelsey to respond, but I want to include Laura just to have visibility, I'm only going to put Kelsey in that to line so that she knows she's the one that I'm intending to have respond to me. And then whenever possible, respond within 24 hours or 1 business day. And for some of you who are very busy traveling, things like that, that might seem like a lot. And sometimes our inboxes can get out of control. So what do we do when we just can't keep up? Well, thankfully, we have an internal expert who is solved for keeping your inbox organized and is here to join us today. Jamie Caruso from the Pac Northwest studio. He's the managing director. He has been exploring tools to help keep his inbox under control and is going to share some ideas with us today. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. I don't know that I'd say I'm an expert. I am a work in progress. In my previous organization, it was not uncommon for me to have thousands of emails in my inbox at any given time. It was a hole that I didn't know how to stop digging. And when I came on board here, one of my resolutions was I was never going to experience that again. So I did spend a little bit of time. I actually talked with a consultant and just tried to figure out how to build some better habits. And some of it comes counterintuitive to what I would think, this is the way to do it. Probably the first one that came to me was really 3 Ds and an F. Do it, delegate it, delete it, or file it. All right. I'm a hoarder of information, so I added the F. I have a hard time actually deleting something because I think I need to go back there. But it comes kind of hand in hand with being proactive as opposed to reactive. All right. And your inbox can be a very reactive place. If you actually set up a time that you're going to check your emails through the day, it keeps you from being distracted while you're working on other things, being this email came up. So to keep you from digging that hole quickly, when you get to those points where you're checking your emails, myself, I try to do it 3 times a day. I utilize the 3 Ds and an F. If I can do it immediately, I get it off my desk. If it's more appropriate for somebody else to do it immediately, I forward it over to them with instructions of what to do. So that's the delegate. The delete it is if, it's superfluous, I got it, move on, get it out of the inbox. And then lastly, file it if it's appropriate information. We'll talk a little bit more about options for doing that automatically as we move forward. One of the biggest pieces for me that I had not been using was just a focused inbox. And when it came on and we got email onto our phones, it automatically was showing up as focused. And what that allows is for you to be able to have all your emails in a thread. So I don't know if you experienced trying to find something, you're jumping around and like, where is that email? Where is it at? Now I can type in a subject, it comes up there and I have the entire trail in one spot. So that was a big piece for me, is being able to keep track of conversations, especially when you have several projects running at any time and several employees doing different things. So those ideas of the focused inbox gives you a place on the one side. These are important pieces. And then on the other side, you're going to end up with a section that says other communications that come from boxes like, Scholarcraft, here's a price increase or whatever. They kind of go over there. And so I'm able to take a look at my focused inbox and say, okay, this is where I'm going to spend the time on those 3Ds, right? Get the important stuff done. At the end of the day, I kind of go into the other box and I say, okay, what do I need to do with that? The other portion of what I was speaking about is the thread piece, keeping those communications all in line. So if I have a question about, hey, do we have access to this line now? And I forward it off to strategic sourcing, they respond back. It all stays there. So when I do file it, that conversation is still easily able to be seen. Folders. I'm sure everybody here is using folders, but my folder trail is long. I subdivide. It allows me to keep track of things and just the way I organize. But having some sort of system is basic 101 for being able to keep things going, be able to find things quickly. I have folders for vendors. I have folders for customers. I have folders for customers that are under the LES is touching it. It's pretty easy if somebody were to take my computer and need to get it because something happened with me to go and say, okay, hey, this is where I need to find it. When we talk about pinnings, flags, and categories, all right, when I have something that comes through that I need to be paying attention to, and it falls outside of that do it, delegate it piece, it's information that I need to reference because that project's going to take a period of time. I pin it. And that keeps it at the top of my inbox. I see it every day when I come in. It's one of the first few things that are up there. So if I get a communication from, one of my bosses that says, hey, this is a project we need to work on, I keep that information up there. Flags are also a great way for me to say, hey, I need to deal with this, but I don't have time. So it falls out of, can I deal with it immediately? I'll flag it so it doesn't end up lost. It also works when you're going to have stuff that moves over directly to your folders because you can see things that are flagged there because you'll see little numbers next to it. Lastly, your categories. We get a lot of information that comes in. Let's just talk about manufacturers that are sending us information. Sometimes that's information you want to keep because there's a price increase, and sometimes it might be related to an issue that you have. So I create categories. A couple that are based upon priorities and a couple that are, fileless or timeless. So information that's not going to go away. It's not going to become outdated. And when those go over, they stay color coded with a little flag, and I can now search by those categories. All right. So if I want to just do price increases, click, I can see all my price increases from everybody that's came through. And the wonder of Outlook keeps everything date stamped. And then kind of the last real tool, and this is one that I'm starting to explore and I haven't really been able to grab onto with gusto yet, but it's rules. You can set up rules so that certain things will automatically not go to your inbox, but drop over into your file chain. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss something that I shouldn't have because it does it. But if you have consistent subject lines or pieces that come in from a customer that has, a email address that's all the same, I'm going to pick on A4LE. I get an awful lot of A4LE information that can actually bog down my inbox. I have a rule. It automatically goes to an A4LE folder. I stay on top of that stuff. It just takes out probably 3 or 4 emails, a week at least out of my, what am I going to do with this? And then lastly, and I think this was just prefaced before, it's subjects. If I've got a pet peeve, it's keep your subjects consistent. If you're going to change it because you've changed the subject of that thread, it's great to catch it on there because you can go through it. But if you send me an email and it says thank you, in my head, when I'm looking through and I see that, I'm going to flash past it. And if you buried a piece of important information inside there, it gets missed. So I try to make sure that I'm including customer, even a call to action in that subject line if I need to. So it could be punch list the school district. So trying to keep that consistent will also help you with all these pieces like rules, your flags, your categories, etc., ironing that out. For me, just sitting down and building out a plan to work with my email was probably the keyest step, as opposed to just, oh, I opened up the mailbox and here's all this stuff and now I got to sort out the junk mail. I have a system. It has freed up a couple of hours a day.
All right. That's awesome. Well, that's enough to try out 1 or 2 tools here. So thank you, Jamie. I really appreciate the help here and the expertise. We'll have a lot of the links to some of the things that he's shared in our takeaway. So thank you again.
Yes, thanks again, Jamie. So we've talked a lot about email, but we also mentioned asynchronous communication earlier. So there's a couple of other tools, and I did give them as some examples, but collaborative platforms such as Microsoft Teams, recording for peers and client, and then text messages, team messages, or instant messages really only asynchronously work if you're not expecting an instant response. Okay, so think about that. If you need an instant response, you might handle that a little differently. And then, of course, a learning management system, where we talked about that some earlier, but we're exploring the potential of getting a learning management system and being able to house some of our resources for meteorites within that. So that would be another asynchronous tool. Okay, so here's Oprah. While we have some great asynchronous tools, sometimes there are instances where communicating asynchronously or apart might not be the best way. It might not be the best method. And we may realize that we need to come together and work synchronously. So take a quick second and think about that. And this is the question. When does synchronous communication work well? When is that the better method? Take a few moments, drop some ideas into the chat about possible times when synchronization or working together live time might be the best. So like possible situations where I shouldn't send an email, okay? Close deadline, good. During a training, deadlines, brainstorming, Bill's last minute town hall, spec checks, communication in difficult situations, tough conversations, giving feedback. Wow, awesome. Everything. Question with multiple layers to it. Good. PGPs, conflict resolution.
Yes.
Project briefs. Awesome.
Yeah. So you guys are hitting a lot of these disagreements, conflicts. So yeah, so when we looked through the research, synchronous communication is extremely important. Like, we don't want to send an email with bad news. We want to have a synchronous communication. If it's a long message, this is not an email or a text or things like that. This is picking up the phone, having a Zoom meetings. Obviously, collaboration can be done both ways, but sometimes we need to talk to each other. If things are highly emotional and we need to get in front of something, this is a more of a synchronous conversation. If we're going back and forth and just not getting on the same page, we need to get in front of each other. Conflict that was mentioned earlier is not something that you handle on email, or we handle on email. That's not, or a text. And then connection and team building, having, Bill talked about that just now with the town hall, having those opportunities to connect with people are really, really critical, especially in a remote company. And then things that are time sensitive are areas in which we need to have pick up the phone and have more of a synchronous communication. So with that, we do live in the Zoom meeting world. So Kelsey, can you take us through a couple of activities here or some helpful hints?
Yes. So since we use Zoom a lot as one of our, sorry, I'm hearing it echo. Okay. Since we use Zoom a lot as one of our like most widely used synchronous communication tools, we thought it'd be important to look up some research and best practices and just reminders on some helpful hints for Zoom meetings. As an L&D team, we are new together, so we've been working through like how can we incorporate some of these things too. Starting on time and ending on time. Positioning your camera close to the screen when you're looking at that screen, especially if you have multiple monitors, and muting our microphones when we're not talking. So especially in a larger group like this, you can sometimes get background noise if your microphone's not muted. Also, keeping our cameras on whenever possible. So of course, we know that sometimes you're driving or there's things going on where you can't keep your camera on. And I think everybody understands that. But when our cameras are on, we're building trust with one another. We're connecting, we're collaborating, and we're just promoting that overall pro-social culture. Take a break at least every hour. Zoom fatigue is real, right? So stand up, stretch, walk, take a break. Look away from the computer. And then raise our hands if we have something to say. So especially, there's some really unique tools within Zoom where you can raise your hand, you can give a thumbs up. There's ways to kind of interact with each other without having to talk as much as we need to. And then Zoom balance airtime and participate so that nobody dominates the whole conversation. Asking our quieter members for opinions, and then be interested so the meeting can be interesting. Laura's going to talk a little more about these.
Yeah. So, when we're in those meetings, as we're wanting to show up for others, building those connections, if we're in, those smaller meetings and people are quiet, getting other people's asking perspective, asking questions, balancing, how much I'm talking in comparison to other people. So there's some best practices that I know personally I'm working on consistently. Another synchronous tool is, use the phone. So you will kind of start at the top. Sometimes being able to use the phone is important when we need to clear the air. There might have been a hot email that came in that I do not need to be responding back in email. Let's pick up the phone. Phone calls also fight Zoom fatigue. We can walk around. We're not staring at but we're talking to people. Check-ins and connections, checking on a goose that may have fallen out of line or someone who's fallen out of our boat, making sure that we're checking in on people and connecting with people. And then of course, phone calls are extremely important for if something is urgent and we need some responses. And then instant messaging and text messaging can be both, kind of depending on how you're using that real time, or if it's something that you can come back to. All right. We're about to take a quiz. Everybody needs their phone. And we're hopefully have a little fun and joy that we talked about earlier on the town hall. So Nelisa, you want to kick us off?
Yes. So we're going to challenge, we as an organization, as a group, are being challenged to identify the best communication style based on the situation. So this is based on an article from the Harvard Business Review, and we pulled the quiz. We did add a few extra answers in there, so you're going to see some interesting answers as part of your options. But if you'll go ahead and scan the QR code, we can't see it just yet, Laura. There we go. Go ahead and scan the QR code. You can put your actual name in there if you want, or if you want to call yourself something crazy like Mama Wama or something like that, you can feel free to do that. But just go ahead and get your name in there and join the quiz. We're going to ask a few questions, select the best communication method. And again, this is not the ultimate truth, but we're just going to see how we compare to what the Harvard Business Review article said. And that will also be linked in your resource.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of people doing it.
There's a lot of people
here, so
67, 68. Okay, and so as you're joining, this for those of you who are competitive, it competes on both two things. One, the correct answer according to HBR, and two, how fast you do it. And we do have a leaderboard. So here we go. Everybody ready? Hopefully the technology will work so knowing that that could be a situation here. Okay, here we go. I need this done in 30 minutes. So I should email, I should Zoom call, I should pick up the phone, or I should text someone every 5 minutes. This one's a little longer just so you can get used to it. All right, so pick up the phone. Let's see if that's the correct answer. It is. So here's our leaderboard. Oh, Chelsea, Jesse, and M, and Bill. Top 5 right here. Okay, ready?
We
Here's the
do have a
second
mama
one.
llama.
I need to share a thought on a task that's already underway. So do I email the person? Do I phone, text, instant message, or just forget about it? All right, email. So this is a thought that's already underway. It's already happening. The correct answer, according to HBR, is text, instant message. Oh, Mama Wama is in the lead now. All right, and again, they're debatable, and we could probably have a whole nother level up to debate some of these, but it's, trying to make the best of the situation. Okay, I need to relay a message I received from leadership to multiple people within the team. Do I email them? Do I Zoom? Do I write a letter? Do I use Microsoft Teams and a collaborative document to get this done? What might be the best? All right, email. Let's see. Okay, email is it. Mama Wama is in the lead. Bubba, Dave, Childers, Taylor, and Michael F. Okay, here we go. My response will require a lot of explaining. So do I send it in a message in the bottle? Do I email someone? Do I pick up the phone? Or is this an instant message? Phone. All right. Very good. I wonder who Mama Wama is, okay. So there we go. There's our leaderboard. We need to bring the team together to plan a project and discuss barriers. Is this a collaborative document situation, a Zoom, an email, or do we fly to Gainesville so that we can get together? Maybe not right now. All right, so Zoom, let's see. Yep, that's the correct answer. All right. We're getting close. I am sharing a document that the team needs to provide input and create together. Do I email them an attachment? Do I send a TikTok? Do I use a collaborative document, or do I Zoom? All right, a collaborative document is the correct answer. And then our last one, I just received an email that was very direct and emotionally charged. I should email back into all caps. I should text back in all caps. I should ignore it. Or maybe I should pick up the phone and call once that I'm calm. Oh, fabulous. We've done well. All right. Okay. So here are the winners. Mama Wama, Jenna, someone who anonymously participated, Selena, and Natalie. So some congratulations on our winners. Very
Does
good.
Mama
Thank you for
Wama
participating.
want to reveal themselves? We thought we knew who it was, but now we don't.
Me.
Dasha!
Dasha. It's not
Yay!
Mr. Zurin, but it's Mrs.
Oh.
Miss Zurin.
All right, very good.
Congratulations.
Well, we have so much more that we would like to share with you. So we're gonna move through the rest of this very, very quickly. But one of the great communicators, Oprah Winfrey, great communication starts with you and begins with connection. So when we connect with others, assuming positive content, understanding people's perspective, asking for feedback, showing gratitude, all of these help us move wonderfully and beautifully through our meteorite galaxy in a pro-social way. So here's a couple of final quotes. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. The key to handling problems and conflict within an organization is keep the channels of communication wide open. And your ability to communicate is an important tool in your pursuit of your goals, whether it is with your family, your coworkers, or your clients. So communication is critically important. Unity is strength. Where there is teamwork, collaboration, and communication. As we know, there is strength. So real quick, and we will be done. This is anonymous. So, Kelsey talked about a little nugget at the beginning. Like if there's one little thing that you got from today's conversation, what is that going to be? So do this QR code. What communication strategy will you practice next week based on some of the things that you learned? That's people typing. Listen more. Pick up the phone, organize my emails better Outlook, email management, pick up the phone, reaching out to check, email 3Ds, very good. Phone friend, being more specific, more check-ins, batch checking emails, email organization. Man, Jamie, you're going to have to probably do a level up again, it sounds like. Check in with team members, pick up phones, pin emails, wording requests better. Yes. Let's look at teams, coordinate, listen and organize. Don't overtalk. More check-ins, checking in. Thank you. This is really, really great. Better subject line, checking in more, using collaborative docs, touching base with teams, being more concise, being respectful, not interrupting. Manage my inbox. All right. Well, thank you so much for hopping on today for our communication level up. We have a little, this will be posted on our website, our Level Up website. Kelsey's going to drop it in the chat right now if you want to grab it right now. We'll have the recording of this as well as the slide deck up on Level Up by Monday. All right. And if you want to stay on and ask any questions, you are welcome to do that. We really, really appreciate you spending our Friday afternoon with us. Have a great, great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.